Jagex laid out their entire content roadmap for 2025 and beyond at Runefest, but is it enough to keep you engaged? Find out as I discuss exactly that in this video. Whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're going to go through the announced content in order of release from early releases to late announcements. Let's kick it up with the Pharaoh's Folly quest, which is releasing or launching on April the 7th, which is the second new quest in the Desert series. Following, of course, the Beneath Scabras Sands quest, which released kind of recently. Completing this quest will reward you with increased odds of capturing Slayer creature souls using the Shabties, a reduction in consumption of the Feathers of Mott when doing Slayer inside the Softenham Slayer dungeon, increased XP from shifting tombs, and increased drop rates from Menethos Journal collection logs. Nothing too special, but it doesn't really matter because you're going to be completing this quest for the finale later this year anyway. April the 14th sees the return of the Easter event called Blooming Burrow. This is a fantastic event, and this year there's going to be a new quest, new cosmetics, and, of course, you'll be able to get all the legacy cosmetics. For players that have never done this event before, it's pretty good, and the community icon for the giant golden egg is pretty fun. In May, we're getting the first piece of content that I would call extremely exciting, and that is augmented runecrafting and thieving items. Or in other words, invention training through the use of the runecrafting and thieving skill. Now, Invention is a skill you can train with so many skills already, but the fact that we're getting an expansion to Invention after so many years is really cool. This doesn't just include new ways of training Invention, it also includes new components that can be used to, I quote, create powerful new skilling perks for skills like mining and archaeology. Somewhere during the summer, Jagex will be adding special passives and specs to the trilogy of Masterwork weapons, and also mentioned buffing and changing other high tier weapons such as the FSOA and Zuck Sword. I'm sure more details of this will follow soon. In June, another 110 skilling extension is going to launch, being 110 crafting, although for this one, Jagex isn't quite sure about the exact release date, but it's releasing somewhere in June, giving them some space or buffer zone. The update is going to introduce a new craftable set of level 90 magic armor and level 100 masterwork magic armor, which will likely require level 110 crafting. And on top of that, a new high tier urn. With this information in the back of your mind, you might want to start training up your crafting if you can, especially during the next Double XP event. Why is the beach event on the roadmap? I'm pretty sure they said it was going to be retired last year and replaced with a new seasonal event, like how the Christmas, Easter, and Halloween events have been updated. Maybe they haven't had enough time to do so. Well, that's weird. We'll see. On July the 28th, the third and final new desert quest is going to release, which is the finale or the conclusion to the series called Eclipse of the Heart. The quest is going to be filled with puzzles, which, I'll be honest, I don't really like, and a quest version of the Amascut boss, which is releasing a week after this quest.
But certainly not least, you'll fight Amascut herself in a version of the boss fight designed specifically for the quest. As one of the rewards for completing the quest, you'll unlock access to the full boss encounter, which will be released the following week.
So more or less what they're saying here is that on the 4th of August, 2025, Amascut is releasing into the game. In the following section of the content presentation, mods Ryan and Raman hint towards this boss being incredibly difficult. It's going to be a 1 to 5 player boss, although based on mod Raman's wording, you're best off doing this in a group of 5 players. It seems to be a mix of lessons learned from bosses released prior, including an enrage system like Telos and Zamrak, clear and distinct phasing like Virago and Solak, and intuitive mechanics like the Sanctum of Rebirth with attack telegraphing. Really glad to hear that last one making a return or being the standard for new bosses releasing into the game. Speaking of releases, this boss is going to release in a unique way. It's going to be released as a significantly more difficult version of the regular normal hard mode boss fight, known as challenge mode. This mode needs to be defeated by a group of players, it doesn't matter which, before normal and hard mode are locked by the entire player base. Basically, they're trying to force the best of the best PVMers to race against each other, which, I mean, if you're a good PVMer, this is probably really exciting. If you're an average or below average player, well, you're probably going to need to wait a couple of hours at minimum before you're going to be able to kill this boss, if not more. If it's really, really difficult, then perhaps you're going to need to wait a day. As for the drops, this boss will drop a new set of tier 95 necromancy weapons, so a Death Guard and Skull Lantern, which are apparently really good for soul building, and a new tier 95 melee weapon with halberd or scythe range, which is really interesting because that's something we haven't seen in a long time. I hope it also has a really good special. Finally, it will also drop a new set of magic power armor. All this stuff is really exciting, and this is probably one of the releases I'm most excited for this year. Another really exciting release somewhere in late autumn is the League's game mode. Yes, after Fresh Start Worlds, we are now finally getting a proper Leagues with extremely boosted XP rates and extremely powerful relics. This is going to be an exciting time for both content creators and players, as you're going to be able to level up accounts in no time, in addition to perhaps having the most fun you're going to ever have at PVM because of really powerful effects or specials that are Leagues only. The only problem with game modes like these, and I don't think this is talked about too often, is that once you play, the main game might feel really boring and slow. It's very much worth noting that, unlike Fresh Start Worlds, Leagues will not require additional membership to play. Thank you, Jagex. In the winter of 2025, we're going to be seeing some combat improvements and the return of the Halloween event known as Harvest Hollow, which of course will feature a new quest and new cosmetics. Near the end of the year, we're going to see the return of the Christmas event, and somewhere at the end of this year, we'll also be seeing 110 thieving, so another additional skill extension. For early 2026 and beyond into 2027, Jagex announced a massive season of content that is supposed to release over that span of 2 years or so, called Hive. This is the area expansion they were hinting to earlier this year. The first part of this update will introduce a new settlement called Wendlewick, similar to Taverlane Lumbridge. This settlement and its surrounding area will bring new hunter training methods, as the hunter skill will be extended to level 110. The materials gathered for hunter will be used to craft tier 90 ranged armor and tier 100 masterwork ranged armor. There are also hints of potential mid-level content being added to this area. As the content season progresses, new areas will be unlocked, like swamps and ruins, filled with some kind of fog where, according to the JMods, you'll need to use all of your skills to navigate it. It's unclear exactly what that entails, but if it's anything like the Shroud mechanic in the Enshrouded game, I'd be pretty stoked. A new archaeology dig site has also been confirmed, featuring a powerful new relic. Additionally, there were hints about fishing in the rivers of blood and new slayer creatures being introduced. So far, they've confirmed high-level ancient vampires known as Primordial Strigoi, as well as twin blood knights, both of which guard a portal to a new land called Vampirion. Eventually, this season of content is supposed to conclude, likely through some kind of quest, with a confirmed tough boss fight as a grand finale. Based on what I've heard at Runefest during both the initial announcement and separate panel, it's going to be big, like really big, way bigger than Anachronia or something of that sort. Personally, something I'm most excited for, and unfortunately it's quite far off, but the powerhouse of mods working on it are definitely going to deliver. I just know they will. Finally, the second big announcement was a new skill. Roll the clip.
You also know that RuneScape has a new skill now in development.
Unfortunately, not much was shared, but I would assume it's going to be releasing somewhere late 2027, so it's really far out. Overall, I think 2025 has a good selection of content coming, but it's not what I'd call jam-packed. Like, you could take a break for half a year and easily catch up. I do believe Leagues could make up for that, at least for me, but if that isn't your cup of tea, then, well, you can take that break. Unless you don't like missing out on day release stuff. Havenheim seems really promising though. Oh, and we have a new CEO now called Mod North, as Mod Pips is stepping down. According to the announcement, this doesn't signal a change in monetization strategy or game direction. We'll see about that one in the future, Jagex. Let me know what you guys think. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.